Welcome back to 90 Seconds Plus with Invercargill City Mayor Nobby. So this week we're kicking off with a senior citizen who's moving into a council-owned flat or unit, has contacted us regarding concerns about her having to give away her dog. So anyway, Nobby, what's your thoughts? I passed it on to you a week last week.
It's a real heart, from the hearts type story.
Yeah.
This woman, I understand, has lost her husband, is moving into one of our flats. She's been on the waiting list. Our flats at this stage do not allow for pets.
Yeah.
So I've asked the Chief Executive to have a look at this because the government is currently moving through the select committee process an issue of allowing people to have pets, but they have to pay a pet bond.
Yeah.
And I guess most landlords are not opposed to that. The pet bond then covers any damage or any smell once they leave and all that sort of stuff. Well, I can't see why we wouldn't want to do that as well. I know from previous discussions with age concern that one of the biggest things older people face, and we're getting an older population, is the issue of loneliness. One partner dies, the pet is often a very important part for them. So I just want us to have a rethink about that.
Yeah, especially I think the pet's getting on as well. So
yeah, it's an older dog, and it comes. The article said it's got people saying that it's not a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, there will be issues to consider. I mean, if you talk about dogs alone, do you allow somebody to have a German Shepherd or a Rottweiler in a very small one-bedroom unit? What about the smaller pets? Well, the one that we're talking about, a Foxy, a Jack Russell or a Foxy, one of the two. They can be a bit yappy at times as well.
Yeah.
But hey, if it creates a noise issue, then it's no different to what happens in the community. We have noise complaints about dogs barking and whatever.
Yeah.
But I think, it's my take, I think most people in the units would embrace the ability to have a pet, or would probably celebrate that somebody next door's got a little wee dog that they can pat and play with, and helps build a bit of communication within the units.
Totally.
Yep. So.
Yep. And then another big topic this week is obviously Cubas Creek. So council had was come up in the meeting this week. So where are we at with that?
So Cubas Creek is a really complicated area. 40, 50 years, we've had ongoing debates with them over their leaseholders. So they don't own the land. They've got cribs, technically cribs.
Yep.
But they've really become permanent residences. And so we just want to acknowledge that what's currently in place is not fit for purpose. They have an annual debate with us about their leasehold costs. Those costs have moved from 800 in 2001 up to 2,500, so it's gone up threefold in 3 years. And we've used a marketplace mechanism to justify those increases. I don't personally agree with that. And most of the people around the table think that's too much and too quick. So we're going to look at two things. One is, how do we secure the tenure for those residents that are out there? And one option is to look at a lease that might go for 35 years. That means that if you're out there and you had a partner and you get the partner's name on the lease as well, and possibly you put a child on there, but nothing beyond a child. You don't start putting grandchildren on it. But it basically means 35 years from now, those properties need to be removed one by one as those 35 periods lapse. That's one option. The other option, I guess, is to just have the status quo. But the big risk for the leaseholders is the status quo is that we issue an annual lease. Now, if we didn't want to issue one, they'd be in trouble. Yeah. I'm not suggesting we're going down that, and that's not meant to be a threat, but it is just a mechanism that's available to us. So to safeguard them, because the majority of the people at Cubas Creek do not trust the council, and they've had good reason not to. Yeah. They haven't been treated very well, and we've been lax on the way we've managed it. So that option one comes with a risk. So we're not going to try and talk to the group, because I think there's 16, 17, 18 units out there, cribs, because we can never get a common voice. So we're going to go out and approach each one individually. If one wants to take the longer period, that's great. If one wants to take the risk of a shorter period, so be that too. Yeah. But at the end of the day, the long-term plan is that 35 years from now, I suspect we will have no cribs there. Yeah. But some do want to actually freehold the land, change it from a reserve and eventually into a residential thing. To do that, we'd have to go to the Minister of Conservation on that. We have already said they'll oppose that. Council opposes it. Yeah. We don't want it converted. We eventually want to remain that land as part of a much wider reserve at Sandy Point. But the other thing is that with the new Resource Management Act that's coming, and everybody talking about sea rise, you couldn't do a subdivision. We physically would not be able to approve it so close to the river, which is tidal. Yeah. So it's a complex area, and there's a lot of history and a lot of bad blood and a lot of emotions in the thing. So I'm just stepping through quietly. Some of my colleagues would like us not to negotiate quite so much, but I've given an undertaking that I will. We'll do that one-on-one, and at the end of the day, hopefully sometime in this calendar year, we'll get a resolution. It will not. It won't suit everybody. Some of the staff will not be happy with it.
Some of the people there won't be happy either.
Correct. Well, they'll make a choice on the options.
At least it gives them a bit of certainty now.
One of the options we had in the initial paper from staff, which is good, they gave us the range of options, was to bring somebody in independent to look at it. I've been opposed to that, and so I moved some amendments at the last meeting this week, because I think that's fraught with problems. If we get somebody in and it gives it an outcome that's good for us, they'll say we've jacked it up. If it goes the other way and we're not happy with it, it's only advice, of course. We don't have to adhere to it, but they will say, just because you didn't get your message right back from the independent person, you're now pushing us into a corner. So I don't think it's not a win-win either way. So I've tried to back away from that. Now, it's not so we won't go there somewhere along the line, but we'd prefer to be able to resolve it.
And there's
locally.
a cost bringing someone else in because you have to pay some expert to come in. And
it was something like 300,000 was quoted.
Jeez.
So that's nearly your annual salary. I mean, but no, it's a complicated picture, really is. But we are hoping to resolve it. And even though the results may not suit everybody out there, they'll know where their futures lie. At the moment, there's too much uncertainty and too lack of trust with council staff. So we've taken it away from the parks team, which would normally manage this, and we've said as elected members we will make the decisions, and they will have to live with that. Now, it's not a threat to the staff, but it's just we need to take the sort of the angst out of the equation. There's some lack of trust there, and we're trying to build some trust with the current people out there to make sure they're okay.
That's 90 Seconds Plus with Invercargill City Mayor Nobby Clark. Till next week, we'll see you later. But hey, don't forget
the book sale at the Scottish War up until late Saturday. It's a really good cause and supports the Grey Street project in South City. So look forward to seeing you there.